The toast is toasting, and this is Morning's LALATE. In this morning's recording, we examine the fourth stimulus check, the multiple stimulus checks, and we examine how the House proposal is different than the Senate proposal when it comes to that fourth stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check. We examine the time frame, we examine the supporters, and we examine the dollar amount that differs from the fourth stimulus check, whether you're looking at the Senate proposal and the House proposal. We'll also examine the big money across the board. Meantime, in this recording, we also examine how last week and this coming week, good economic data is not supporting stimulus, but bad economic data is. And we'll go over how that mismatch of good and bad economic data could impact your fourth stimulus check. Also, we'll examine shocking developing details happening just this Sunday about Johnson & Johnson, how the president will not be able to deliver vaccine doses to states across the board next week with a massive downsurge, and how that could impact your fourth stimulus. Meantime, we'll examine the pre-market and what Wall Street and Dow are thinking going into the new day of Monday's trading. We'll also examine third stimulus as a series of new stimulus checks are about to land this coming week. I'll examine who are going to get those stimulus checks. And also, in the second half of Morning's LALATE at 9:30, at 10 o'clock, we will examine that $50,000 of student loan debt forgiveness, which this channel's reporting will be happening next Thursday, and the targeted EIDL advance of $10,000, which is landing in bank accounts this week as well. It's a big morning, and let's get to it as Morning's LALATE starts right now. Good morning, everybody. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and thank you for joining me on a big morning's broadcast this Sunday morning with live coverage also on this channel from the Masters. Fourth round action is about to get underway with Hideki Matsuyama leading the pack. Boy, let's look at that surprise. Hideki Matsuyama is starting today at 11 under. His tee time is a few hours away, so we'll be cutting into that detail as it happens. How are you? Four monthly stimulus checks are heating up. And in this recording, for the first time ever, we examine the details and the differences from the House proposal for monthly stimulus checks under the fourth stimulus package and the Senate proposal. We also examine how good and bad economic data is impacting that as well. And finally, I'll be cutting over to third stimulus and a new round of stimulus checks coming this Wednesday. In the second half of Morning's LALATE, we'll examine the $50,000 of student loan debt happening and also the $10,000 EIDL advance that's landing in bank accounts this week as well. Really exciting, great news. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I don't want you to miss a single video across the board. Today we have a big lineup of shows, and it's going to be a lot of fun today. Also, like this video. Let's do 3,000 likes. If you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Power, Purple Hawk, or Calcino VIP. And thank you for all the new wonderful members who joined yesterday. Well, away we go. Let's jump right into the data right now as we look at what's going on and the contrast between the senators and the House members when it comes to fourth stimulus. What's important to understand is that there's a mismatch across the board, and ultimately that push is happening right now. There are both senators and House members who want to give you monthly stimulus checks, and let's examine them right off the board. First, let's look at the time frame. If you're a House member supporting those monthly fourth stimulus checks, what are you proposing? They're proposing, the House members for fourth stimulus are proposing the stimulus checks be monthly and continue 1 year after the pandemic. So if the pandemic, for example, ends this September, they would continue to pay monthly stimulus checks until September of next year. The Senate Democrats instead have a shorter time horizon. They propose the monthly stimulus checks to continue from now to December. Who are the supporters of this monthly stimulus check among the senators and the House members? Well, the House members are generally progressive Democrats, and the senators who are actually more moderate Democrats. More importantly, the House members are not leading House members, whereas the Senate members are literally in the leadership control of the Senate. These are the people that Leader Schumer leans upon for guidance on a regular basis. And these are the people who want you to have monthly stimulus checks. Let's look at the amounts. The House members have actually said the amount. They want to pay you $2,000 the first month and $1,000 every month thereafter, continuing 1 year until after the pandemic's over. The senators have not given us an amount for the monthly basis. But word on the street is that the senators want to pay you either $1,400 a month or $2,000 a month. Well, let's look at this graphic. If you were paid $2,000 a month and you're an individual and the bill was signed into law in June, that's 6 months, July to December. And away we go. $2,000 a month per month is $12,000. If it's $1,400 a month, that's $8,400. I see a full room. There's Susie Hampton, and there's Gunnar, and there's Linda, and there's Gail, and there's Renee, and there's Peter, and there's Mitchell, and there's Charlotte, and there's Mohammed as well. How are you? It's a great Sunday. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So you see, this is big money. We'll be cutting back to this data, this graphic in a second. But this week and next week, Wall Street's had to battle, and Congress has had to battle with a confliction of good economic data and bad economic data. What's important for you to understand is that good economic data works against stimulus. The concept is people would not give stimulus if the economy is rebounded. The concept of bad economic data is that they would give you stimulus because the economy isn't rebounded. Let's first look at the bad economic data. The bad economic data featured last Thursday's data. New unemployment claims, which came in high, continuing unemployment claims, which stayed high. And finally, small business closures, which shocked everyone. Let's cut back and go over that data one at a time. First, the small business closures. On Friday, we learned that 22% of small and medium-sized businesses closed across the United States for good. I mean, this is just shocking. 22% of all small and medium-sized businesses are shuttered forever as of the month of February. This is the worst number we've seen since May. Another bad economic data number came on Thursday, and that was the new jobless claims. Wall Street previous week saw 728,000 new jobless claims, and they estimated this Thursday we were going to improve to 694, go down. It didn't go down. In fact, it didn't stay stable. In fact, it got worse. It went to 744. 744,000 new people on unemployment for the first time this last week. It showed a leap higher of 50,000 from the week before. Where were the states that saw the biggest surges? California, 40,000, nearly 40,000 new people on unemployment. New York, nearly 16,000. Alabama and Ohio, meantime, showed upwards of 14,000 in each state getting off of unemployment. The second bad economic number that Thursday was the continuing unemployment claims, showing 4 million people still unemployed from the week before, the number not improving. Now, this is what's interesting and important to know is that for that bad economic data, new unemployment claims, continuing unemployment claims, and small business closures, we also had good economic data, which works against stimulus. Good economic data started last week, and it's important to understand is that good economic data is your fear factor. You don't want this bill to get finalized in the Senate before all you hear is left is good economic data. Let's go over the first item of good economic data, which was the number of jobs. In the month of March, this economy generated 1 million jobs. There's 8 million missing. That means that in 8 months, all the jobs will be restored. But if Wall Street's correct, no, it could be in 4 months. Wall Street's anticipating that this month that we're currently in will generate 2 million jobs in the month of April. And if that's correct, in 4 months, 8 million jobs will be restored to this economy. There will be no loss of jobs since pre-pandemic levels. And guess what 4 months from now is? This summer. That's good economic data that works against stimulus. That's why you want the bill in the Senate as soon as possible. The next number that was good numbers that surprised everyone last week was the producer price index. It showed the highest growth since 10 years ago. We grew at 1%. Thank you, Janelle DeCaro Masai, for the dancing pair. I really appreciate a dancing pair to start the morning. Get up and dance and, have that coffee. Just don't spill the coffee and dance because there's a dancing pair. I really appreciate that, Danielle. So the producer price index number was very strong on Friday. And guess what's coming on Tuesday? The consumer price index. It's expected to be strong as well. So you see three strong numbers: jobs, the PPI, and the CPI coming next week, all very strong. What's important to understand is that time is of the essence. It's important to get this bill to the Senate or the House as soon as possible. Now, here's what you need to know. Which one could modify the bill, and who's going to modify the bill? They both could modify the bill. This is the process that you're seeing unfold. First, the bill would go to the House to determine whether they want to do a reconciliation or not. It's just a procedural bill. It's nothing substantive. There's no content in the bill. Do you want to do a recon? Yes, says the House. Off to the Senate. Do you want to do a recon? Yes, says the Senate. Off to the President. Signed into law. Done. The tow truck has passed over the finish line. Now, step two, go back to the House and do the tow hitch. What goes into the actual bill? The substance. It's at that point that those House Democrats, which you saw early in this video, could introduce monthly stimulus checks. There's 100 of them. There's 100 of them who have written the president they want those monthly stimulus checks. So they could put it in there. It would save us time. Remember, the bill they're going to start with from the president won't have monthly stimulus checks in it, but the Democratic House members could put it in there. Then it's called for a vote. Then it's finalized. It's off to the Senate. But when it lands in the Senate, that's when those Senate Democrats would put, by amendment, the monthly stimulus checks in there. How does this work? It's a two-day event called a vote-a-rama. And during that two-day event, Democrats, who are senators, put those provisions in the bill. During that two-day event of the vote-a-rama, 21 of 50 Democrats will put those provisions of monthly stimulus checks in the bill. They'll modify the bill to add those provisions so that you have monthly stimulus checks. And then it goes off to the president to sign, and away we go. Here's what you need to know about the fourth stimulus package bill as a totality. It has three parts. Part one is infrastructure. Part two is climate. Part three is taxes. Well, what do the Republicans say about the bill? Part one, they're fine, infrastructure with. Part two, stop, right there. Republicans do not support step two. It is climate. And the Republicans have made very clear they have a line drawn in the sand. They're not going to give $1 for climate. Over the last week, the president said, you need to do everything. You have to do something for everything. Doing nothing is not an option, to use his exact words. Well, guess what? The Republicans said, we've chosen our option. Our option is we're not going to do anything for climate. It's for that reason that, ironically, climate's going to give you a multiple stimulus check, a monthly stimulus check. Why? Because sometime between this coming Monday and the following Monday, the president will realize that he cannot negotiate with the Republicans because they've said they're not going to give him climate. The bill's going to die for purposes of bipartisanship because the Republicans are not going to give the president climate. And at that point, the bill goes by reconciliation. It's important to understand that Purple Power, you need to do your thing. You need to push, push, push. Share this video on social media. Tag your elected officials. Tag your cabinet members and say, you know what? I like your message. But here's my thought on the message. First, I agree with you. Number two, you need to do this bill now. Why? Because in July, Congress goes on vacation. They do literally next to nothing between July and September. They have a lot of vacations and not a lot of work is gotten done. And we need this bill finalized now. Third, The Republicans don't want to do this bill, so get it done by reconciliation and out the door now, and get it done as quickly as possible. And that's how you're going to get your multiple stimulus checks. I'll examine more about that coming up in a second, and I'll go over a new video from the White House and also video from Elizabeth Warren and more, and I'll answer some of your questions as well. But join me in just a second as Morning Daylight continues right after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as Mornings LA continues. Who gets paid a fourth stimulus check? During the commercial break, Nicole said, has anyone heard about the SSI and SSDI $200? Yeah, we have heard about it. It's silence. There's no push for that. The push is for this, Nicole. If you want for stimulus and you're on SSI, this is the big moolah. This is the payout that pays you 7 to 8 times $2,400 that was discussed during the campaign. Let's look at who gets this for stimulus. For stimulus goes to individual who makes less than $75,000, or married couple make less than $150,000. It goes to a household of 4 or less, and it gets paid to people on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and railroad benefits. Let's get back to that big graphic from this morning that shows the amount of money at play. Here you go. Look at this amount of money. If they get this bill done at $1,400 a month, it's $8,400. If it's $2,000 a month, it's $12,000. No one will ever talk about $2,400 of SSI because it looks foolish when compared to $8,000. The push is underway with 21 of 50 Democrats in the Senate and over 100 Democrats in the House to give you monthly stimulus checks if you're on SSI, SSDI, or make less than $75,000. This is the push underway. The push is whether it is monthly to December or monthly to a year after the pandemic ends, based upon different calculations. But both House Democrats and Senate Democrats want to give you that big money. Also during the commercial break, there was a lot of other great questions. I saw them, and I'm answering them in 1 second, so keep them coming. Great questions. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I want you part of this community. Boy, away we go. It's the 1-month anniversary of this channel, so give us a subscribe. Tell your friends to join, and I don't want you to miss a single video across the day. After this video, continuing on Morning Daylight, I'll be going over that $50,000 of student loan debt and that $10,000 of EIDL, which is landing in people's bank accounts this coming week. Wow, really big week upon us. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. The link's at the top of the chat and in the pinned comment. One of the comments and questions during the video was, what about mortgage assistance in Florida? I can't find it. It's there now. So it's important to understand what's going on this month and what's going on next month. We're now in April, and the big payment items for third stimulus are available in your city, county, and state. So rent for renters, residential, rent utilities, And also for property owners, mortgage assistance, whether it's publicly held like a Fannie and Freddie Mae mortgage or privately held mortgage like a Chase, more property owner utility bills, and some other property owner assistance are now available at your city level, your county level, and your state level. So reach out to all three because they have different qualifications based upon where you are. They can be more stringent at a county level or less stringent at a city level. Reach out to all three. Also happening right now is the EIDL grant is getting paid out. The shuttered venue grant is now opened. Apparently it opened on Friday and the website crashed. So I'll give you the detail on Monday when it reopens. The PPP grant has now been extended and has reopened by executive order. But you see, if you look at this map, this graph, that May and that June is going to be a lean time. And I want you to get as much money as you can get now, because if forced stimulus landed in bank accounts, that would be July. That's nearly 2 months away. Meantime, what happens if you've not gotten your third stimulus check? Wait. Second, if the check is in the mail, watch the mail. Third, wait for guidance from IRS. Let's go over those mail checks. They're very late. I would add almost 4 days to this graphic because it was made a few days ago, because they're even later than this graphic. So the March 26 checks, they're about 2 weeks late. The April 2nd to 5th checks, they're still not particularly that late, but I would add up to 2 weeks for those checks. And the April 9th checks, add an additional 10 days to that. Meantime, what's happening this Friday, this Wednesday? Well, away we go. This Wednesday, if you are a U.S. veteran and have not gotten your third stimulus check, it's going to likely land by direct deposit on Wednesday. Go to the irs.gov tool and see if you see an update for your name, because on Friday and Saturday, I had some veterans send me DMs that said, thank you, you were 100% right again. And let me explain what happened. First, I have tens of thousands of veterans who have gotten paid the third stimulus check before this week and last week. But I said to you that April 14th will be the fix-it week if they were still unpaid. It now is. My prediction was exactly correct. Last Friday, IRS sent out another wave of stimulus checks for veterans. They updated the tool on Saturday for veterans, and those direct deposits are occurring this coming Wednesday. So go to the IRS tool and see if it shows you in there. And if it does not, do not fret, because the stimulus checks will be landing by direct deposit, direct express by Comerica, the big banks like Chase and Bank of America, this coming Wednesday if you are a veteran. And then more paper checks later this week. If you're not a veteran and you haven't gotten your stimulus check, you're going to likely have to request it by a tax return to get that missing stimulus check. Meantime, what else is happening and what is really surprising across the board? What is really surprising is that the president has unveiled a series of videos in the last few days talking about fourth stimulus. He had his Treasury Secretary fire back about the corporate rate. He fired back about the corporate rate. And that ultimately, none of this really matters. Why does it not matter? It doesn't matter for a very simple proposition. Let me explain what the fourth stimulus package is. It has 3 parts: infrastructure, climate, and taxes. And throughout a lot of the last week, the president was firing back about taxes. He doesn't need to. Then he was spending a lot of time talking about how good infrastructure is. He doesn't need to. Let me tell you why. The bill has to go by reconciliation. The line in the sand has been drawn by the Republicans, who says they're not going to do the climate. They're not going to do the climate part of the bill. And no matter how many videos I have for you for the White House, you won't see his cabinet members talking about climate almost ever, because that's the part of the bill that doesn't get passage from bipartisan support. And what you need to understand is that this is why the bill needs to go by reconciliation. Reconciliation is that 2-step process that takes 2 months, which I detailed early in this video, and it's the only process by which you get a stimulus check, a monthly stimulus check, a fourth monthly stimulus check. And that process could happen two different ways. One, the House Democrats can put it in there, or the Senate Democrats can put it in there. And the net result is, whichever side puts it in there, whether it's the House or the Senate, the president's going to sign it into law. The president's not going to veto or override stimulus checks so long as everything else of his bill is in there, and it will be. The Democrats and the Senate and the House are going to leave in the climate, leave in the infrastructure, leave in the taxes, but they're going to add other things. And those other things are that monthly stimulus check. And away we go. You want this done sooner than later. July to September is not a good day, not a good time if you've been with this channel since last year for congressional action. It is a time of frustration and lots of vacations and very little work. So you want this done in June. We're in April. It could not be introduced next week, but it's likely to be introduced by reconciliation the week after. So what do you need to do? Purple Hour, do your thing. Push, push, push. You want to take this video, tag your elected officials, say MSC, hashtag Purple Power. You want to call up those cabinet members, speak to their staffers, say, you know what, I like your message. I agree with your message, but we need to do this by reconciliation. You can't drag this on any longer. The Republicans don't want to do climate. Let's go and do this. Let's get it done. July is just around the corner. It takes 2 months to do a reconciliation. We can't get this bill out the door in September, October. That would be absolutely awful. You got to do it now, get it done, and away we go. That's how it pushes, and that's how we push the Purple Power. I really appreciate all your interactivity. Let me see some of your comments and questions in this video and jump into your comments right there. Welcome, Sarah. Everyone's welcoming Sarah. Did she just join as a Purple Hawk? I think I missed her. There she is, Sarah Willis. Everyone welcome Sarah Willis for becoming a Purple Hawk. I'm really excited across the board for you joining me. There we are. Very exciting. I see Lynn in the room and Charlotte and Lynn, and there's Michael. Can you, Michael says, can you help with the direct assistance programs here in Florida? I called the city and state and federal. They did not know about it as of yet. So Florida has usually been a very, Florida has usually been a very good state for rent and utilities. I detailed whether it was Broward or Miami-Dade or Pinellas or Orange or, you know, up further up in the north. I've detailed a lot of counties and they do really good work. They have always had it. If you've had problems getting it, reach out to the community page. It's in the description of this video. It's also at the top of the chat. I don't think I see any of the volunteers in the live chat. They usually join maybe in the next video or the video after in the live chat. Reach out to them. They're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They can help find those county websites and those county offices for you to reach out to. Great question across the board. And with that, thank you for joining me. Coming up on Mornings LA, I'm going to go over that $50,000 of student loan debt, an exclusive you're only going to hear on this channel. Then I'll be going over the $10,000 that is coming to you under forced stimulus, and it's coming next week. Yeah, 50,000 in one hand, 10,000 in the other hand. I got a lot of money coming for you in the next video and new video as well from the White House. So stay informed, stay in focus. Make sure you go to the French channel, subscribe. Also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you in just 3 minutes from now as Mornings LA continues this Sunday morning.